Okay, hi. This is video number 2 in a series of 2 so far. A follow-up to my original video discussing the voice stealing workflow that's only currently possible on TDM systems. So thanks to everybody who's joined in on the thread on the Avid Duck, including Kyle Splitgerber, who very graciously joined the conversation. To say that this kind of workflow could possibly be resurrected. So I would like to offer up my examples for why I think it's such a fantastic way to record and comp. I obviously do a lot I do mostly music, songwriting, some mixing work, a lot of recording work. But I suspect a lot of these methods would apply to voiceover work and other post-production situations where voices are at a premium, I assume. I don't work in post-production, so I'm taking a semi-educated guess. Anyway, so just to recap, basically, I create a bunch of tracks. In this case, slide guitar low part I'm about to record, and they're all assigned to the same voice, in this case E28, and the option mute freeze aside voice. So basically anything further up the screen takes over from anything lower down. So in order to make these all function on like one big great one track, mega track I call it, they've all got the same input, same output destination, which is basically an audio group with an instance of PodFarm and some other garbage on there. But the important part is I can also create edit and solo groups. So for instance, this is my slide guitar low brackets edit group, which has got the collection of tracks set to edit, follow globals off, and then an identical track, which is slide guitar low solo, bracket solo, which is a mixed group that only has solos as the attribute, follow globals off. And basically then, if I switch on the edit group, I've got all of the usual behavior of a group track. And the same goes for solo. So I can solo that just by selecting any track, hitting Shift S like any other solo mode. I can also hold control and do a single solo, disable the group briefly. So it functions like one great big recording track. And as you'll see, I sort of started off here down low. So this would have been my first take, obviously working out the part. It seemed to get into trouble somewhere here, further along here. Yeah, talent. And obviously you can see the part is coming together further up the screen. So once I've constructed the part and recorded a number of takes, it looks like I've already sliced this into pieces here, possibly on the grid, possibly just in the gaps, and maybe even trimmed a few endings and beginnings just to tidy it up. But the basic premise here now is that I can go up and down auditioning pieces as simply as just Apple M mute. That was obviously wrong. And built into this workflow is a certain note-keeping, automatic note-keeping, because I can come back in a couple of weeks, a month, a year, whatever, and anything that's grayed out, I'm almost confident is not to be used. I mean, I can get rid of it if I want, but I mean, there may be days where I come back and just decide to re-edit the melody, in which case that piece may turn out to be useful. But in general, I keep the pieces on screen that I think potentially work. Now, I can, of course, go ahead and put it up, these pieces further up the screen. I've got a set of tracks here comp 1, comp 2, comp 3, comp 4, etc. And I use those as my sort of greatest hits storeroom. So if I think, say for instance, this is random, but these 3 are my likely candidates for the whole comp, then it's simple to be able to audition these pieces in situ. So unlike with playlisting, where I would have to have, say, 3 or 4 versions of the master with all these other pieces up to the point where I want this new note to be auditioned, and the only difference in those 4 playlists with their naming convention and whatever has happened as I've created them, the only difference is those 3 pieces of audio. Now, I don't have to bother with any of that. The auto takeover of the voice stealing just says whichever pieces are unmuted and further up the screen are the ones you're going to hear. And as I mentioned in one of my threads, my screen can sometimes end up looking like some kind of digital Jenga or Tetris turned on its side, I think I said. But you see the idea. I mean, I can just literally keep on auditioning. Bad ending, choose a new one. Not bad. Bit chunky. Late. That's my master, but I like the sound of that one and maybe that one, so I'll leave them on the screen so you get the picture. Now, another benefit of this, some people have asked on the forum about things like crossfading, because in this instance, there's no auto crossfade, or I sometimes get bad joins, but it's a simple matter of taking pieces that I want to crossfade, putting them on a new track and executing crossfade on a track further up the screen, because these are the switching is sample accurate, so the play in and the play out of these 2 pieces presents absolutely 0 trouble for Pro Tools to. So I don't even necessarily have to do a final comp as I'm working away fast, writing or trying a lyric or auditioning a new part. This can stay as it appears until the time comes when I decide I want to put everything onto a master track, and etc., like so. So there. Beats playlisting hands down, because there's just no way for playlisting to recreate that. I mean, I suspect there could be an issue, a situation where under the hood the playlisting could have 2 voices, but it would respect this muting and unmuting of regions, so that you could have what's called, some people call drop through behavior, which is basically what this does. But then the other reason I like this is, say for instance, with a vocal comp, I've got a particular lyric or a line or a word that needs a bit of TLC. I can put it on a separate track with a plugin and do whatever corrections I need. And just leave it and just carry on comping and come back later, process those pieces, do whatever. I'll hear it in the comp and I'll want to change it on the fly. But there you go. There's a reason why a playlist would never be able to recreate that, except, I guess, I can't remember what it's called, where the EQ and compression and plugins can be applied to a region. What else did I have on my notes? Whole song edits. Right, okay, so playlists, hidden playlists. I mean, I hide nothing in my sessions. I'll switch tracks off and minimize the size to, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that obviously got printed. But if I would come back and I need to do a whole song edit, take a big chunk of the arrangement and copy it then playlists are all hidden, and it's very rapidly becomes an absolute disaster. So in this instance, having all the tracks on display, much more organized than playlists if you get yourself into a pickle. Individual automation, of course, per track as well. So for instance, all of these tracks have got the ordinary behavior of any other audio track. So I can do funky stuff if I had automation, plugins and what have you. So, individual meter. Yes, when I have playlists operating, sometimes the solo, there's no individual meter per playlist, so sometimes you solo and promote the wrong one because you don't get the visual reference showing you which tracks are playing. And yes, finally, having voice stealing on for things like my guide tracks in my song means that I don't accidentally unsolo 10 guide tracks and blow the singer's ears out, or my own, or my speakers, because obviously these are both assigned to the same voice. There's a bit of a lag when it drops down, but so there's no danger that I'm accidentally going to play 10 on stereo tracks all at the same time, which are all steaming out the master mix and blow the singer's eardrums out. So anyway, there may be a couple of other things that I'll add to this and do a new version, but for now that'll give you some idea of why I love the voice stealing workflow so much. There you go, there's a whole bunch of stuff waiting to be comped, but I remember that I don't have to do anything until the day the comping time comes, and sometimes I don't even have to bother to do that. I've done my comp on the fly. All right, I shall end here. Thanks all. See you soon.